with this news that came out of nowhere. And it literally was one day they have a meet, from what I can gather, they have a meeting and they tell the students and the staff that you have, first I heard it was until August. And then it's the end of June, and now it's tomorrow. You on some try and be morally right or whatever. And I'm not saying that morally right stuff that King was talking about. Right. That's different. I'm not talking about that, because ain't no way you putting women and the kids in front of water hoses and police dogs, and they don't give a damn. Excuse me. I'm a teacher, and if I'm not teaching your children, people have a right to come and say, "Hey, look, man, you're not doing what I need you to do for my child." But you have to be involved too, right? So you can't tell me as a parent, unless you're involved, that you're not doing my child right. I need y'all to correlate this to what's going on around here as well. You can't tell me I'm not doing your child right if you're not involved in the child's life on all levels. The issue that it is now is blatant in everybody's face. Yeah. It's blatant in everybody's face. So we're not sitting there talking about what can we do for residents. We don't care nothing about the residents.
Never about the residents.
It's never about the residents. And the issue that people are having that I see, and they still won't let me come down to the council. When I'm out of school, I'm just gonna go. We out of school in a couple weeks. I'm just gonna come to one. I don't care. All right. Good morning, family. How's everybody? Let me put my glasses on, because y'all let me walk around here thinking I don't have to wear my glasses. How's everybody doing this morning? My apologies for being a little tired, for being late. As usual, I'm catching up to my brother's way of life of making sure we're here on time. So again, let me apologize. That's another 50 jump jacks I owe y'all. So I'm up to probably 150 jump jacks, and you're gonna get them.
Yeah, hold on one second. Let me do something else.
Okay. So that's in Palaka.
You back on.
All right. So again, let me apologize for my tardiness. That's on me. There's nothing to do with the host with the most, brother Uncle Mick, because I know he was probably here at 4:45, because he'd be up rocking and rolling early in the morning. So I apologize for being late. Good morning to everybody. Let me start off, because there's a couple different things I want to talk about today. Different topics I want to talk about today. Number one, when we talk about leadership, get the notion that the people that are standing in front of you are leaders. They are not. Okay. Oh, brother Marcus Field have been up since 5 o'clock this morning. Man, okay. You know what? I was on some mess. I was a little sick this weekend because I ate something I didn't know was cooked differently than what I normally do. That made me sick. Okay. Okay. Hey. All right, brother Marcus. So I got a little, sick because it was a change of something in my system. And you know how when you sick, you kind of lay around, and then when you feel better, next thing you know, it's 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and then you up. Oh, Sunday morning ties. Miss Deborah, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Then all of a sudden you up all night long, and you watching TV because the TV watching you, and then next thing you know, it's time to get up, and you're like, yeah, I didn't get no sleep because I slept all day the day before, trying to make sure I'm better for the next day. But I still owe you, because I said I wasn't going to be late, and I have been late 3 times. Once on Tuesday and twice on Sunday. So I owe you. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Um, the people that the community has to be the one that becomes leader, right? It has to be based on the community. The community has to be informed. The community has to be a force. All right. So now, like if we look at what's been going on here, we have persons that have been elected and put in in positions that are supposed to support and also supposed to represent parts of the city that they're not. Okay. They're not. We're clear about that. No, glasses got to come off because it's getting ready to get a little serious. Okay. We're clear that they're not. But what is the response that we have as citizens to the fact that leadership is not being responsible for the community? They may be being responsible for parts of it, but at the same time, are they responsible to the leadership above them? Or are they responsible to what the community that supposedly has to support them and put them in this position in order to be a representative of what the voice is of the people that they represent? And what we're clearly seeing in many areas is that what is going on is that those so-called leaders are being bought by corporate interests, and this has happened across the country. This has happened in for big business where political action committees have become important, and it's happened on smaller levels across cities too, where the city government officials have their hand in other, from the looks of it. I could be wrong, so clear me up if I'm wrong, and my brother over here can straighten me out if I'm off base. If you have entities in the city who want to invest in the city, right? Let's say, and then they give money to people who are representing certain groups or factions or groups of people in the city, right? So if first ward's got a plant in it, the second ward's got a grocery store, third ward's got this, and if you make sure that people come to my store or work in my plant, then we'll slide you money. Those are what political action committees do, because they want certain things for certain. I'm gonna give you money, but I want certain things in return. Big business has done that a lot across the country, where they have bought and paid for politicians to push certain bills through that's going to be a benefit to them. The issue is that we, though informed, and there's only a few of us, are mostly uninformed. And we just go about our life however we need to live our life, and we're not really interested in being involved. There are a lot of people that know, but there's not a lot of people involved. And what do I mean by involvement? Well, if I live in a particular ward and I see certain things that are not being done, it's my job to say something to the person that lives in the same ward as the representative. That's why those things aren't being done, or why they're being done in one part and not in another. Oh, and let me give a real quick shout out to our host over here who made sure that the breast cancer walk he was at as a news media person. Um, and we appreciate you being out there, because my intent was to come out yesterday with some of my family, but I wasn't in the position to get up because my bed was my friend yesterday, so I couldn't move. But I did what I was walking with you, so we appreciate you being out there with your family that was out there with you as well, and everybody else who was in on the walk. But But we have to become, and we can no longer be the sheep led to slaughter, because this is exactly what's going on. And now big business has this other entity now that they're able to move through the world without being taxed, but that the citizens are being taxed. And the citizens are having no say in what is going on with these corporations, what's going on with these people, what's going on with any of this stuff, right? But that's where we're wrong. We do have a say. We just have to say something. We just have to be knowledgeable, and we have to say something. So if something's wrong, right? There was a meeting yesterday, and I would have loved to have gone, but I wasn't feeling well. That talks about the violence in the city. Well, first and foremost, you have to understand, or the violence period. I don't know whether it's just in the city or whether it was because it was at the was hosted by Nation of Islam yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but this is across the country. But the telescope and the microscope is pointed at our community, when it's really not the community that commits those types of crimes. There was just a crime that was committed last week at a church. We don't unless it's a rare instance where somebody has lost their mind. We ain't going to run up in a church and blow it up and shoot people in the church. No, there have been rare instances where I've known that people have done that at a funeral, and because they own some insanity. They're crazy. But why? And that goes back to how we got here in the first place. Is we have to look at the system that has made us insane. Well, see, here's the deal, Mr. Bird. Recalls are not effective because they're not immediate. Okay. People, if recalls are like, okay, and I know the other balance to that is this. Well, okay, well, if you don't do such and such in 30 days, then you get a recall. Well, that means that every time one person not satisfied, they're doing a recall. And I get it. But the other part about it, you should be um 60, 90, or 120 days. You got to show us that you're doing something that's affecting our community where we stay at. And if you don't show us that, then we can recall you. Not a year because you got to have time or whatever. No, because if you sincerely are working on the behalf of the people as leaders, I don't care whether you're religious leaders or whatever, then you're going to be out there in that people are going to know who you are. You're going to be sacrificing time and materials in order to get people to understand that if we're going to be the storehouse that we claim that we are for you, that then we're going to be available for what the needs are in the community. Between having churches and liquor stores all over the place, the liquor stores not doing anything but taking money out of the community. And this is what Brother Malcolm said. He said our issue is not being unified and organized. It's clear that there's money here. I'm gonna say this again: from Dort Highway on Lippincott to Center Road, there are 2 party stores and 2 gas stations. One is just being built that's going to be open, even though they may consider that to be a burden. And then another liquor gas station that sells liquor on another corner up the street from it. Then 2 party stores in between that. Are you mean to tell me they just if we was broke, the community was broke, they'd be closed? But the community is not broke. The community is unorganized. That's the same thing with leaders. The community is unorganized. And now when people are being passionate and angry about the situation that we have going on, these situations that we have going on, that we're not getting any answers, unfortunately, what people are doing is they're coming down there angry. So the response from the so-called leadership in the city is, okay, if you're going to come down here angry, then what we're going to do is we're going to turn around and we're going to give you a show of force. But what should happen is you can come down there and be passionate. But are there other ways to protest the fact that things aren't getting done? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, how would you solve that? How could you fix that? What would be a way of saying, hey, look, you know what? You can do a letter writing campaign. Like for real. My sister used to do that. Oh, I don't like it. I'm gonna write a letter. And I would laugh and joke and say, okay, you know, that's not gonna change anything in my head. But it did. There were times when her and the late Mayor Eric Mays he would come to her house. I'm like, oh, okay. So it actually in my head, I was like, you know, I was like, oh, come on, sis. But she was one of those persons that her beliefs didn't let her become involved politically. But that don't mean that she didn't say, look, I'm tired of this mess. Something needs to happen. And guess what? Knock, knock, knock. Here he come. And the late brother Eric Mays would come to the door and talk to her. And next thing you know, a couple phone calls, things would get fixed. Now what we having is we have these people who, okay, you got 2 minutes to come down there and speak, or 3 minutes to come down there and speak, and you come down there irate. Well, Derek, how you figure you're gonna respond? Because it sounds like a threat. So if you respond with force, then I'm gonna respond back with force. But there was one thing the late brother Herbert Cleves taught is, hey, you got to have decorum. You can be angry. You can be angry enough to go get 40, 50, 60 people to come down there and fill the chambers at the meetings, and then they'll know that you mean business. You get 100 people, and you get a couple hundred people standing out there while they having a meetings, and they look out the window and they see a couple hundred orderly people. Then okay, we got to change up. No, but we in order though. You have an orderly protest, letter writing campaign. That's the same thing. You know, Sunday morning, we're going to go to church and we're going to listen to the so-called word, and we're going to listen to this person who consider himself to be a so-called leader, and they're not leading you anywhere. Because at the end of the day, finding divinity is yours. It's your responsibility. So can't nobody guide you nowhere. Even though the Bible says the kingdom of God is within. So you got to find that inside and before you find that outside. That may mean that you got to give up some things and do some things differently in order to be able to find it. And so back to Mr. Bird's point, my position is, and my idea is that, let me say this. Okay, as a teacher, they'll tell us that you have a certain length of time in order to show that you're effective in what it is that you're teaching and how it is that you work with your young people. And I've been fortunate enough to do this for 30 years and still consider myself to be fairly effective. Why are we saying that these persons, whether they somebody's pastor or minister or whatever, who are not given the same standards as a teacher? That's all I'm saying. Just give the same standards to your religious leadership as well as your political leadership that you give to me. And guess what? They either shape up or ship out. One of the two. They can't sit around here and go like, oh, yeah, well, you know what? I didn't do such and such today. Why was that? Blah blah. No, we nobody care nothing about that. You got to be on point with your stuff, or you go. On the north side of Flint, from what would we say, McClellan? No, there's that one market that used to be black, the Hinky Dinky. Oh, that's King. That's what King and McClellan, right? Okay, I don't even know if that's black anymore. But we don't have. There's 1, 2, 3 stores, right? There's the Landmark. There's Mr. Bees, and Hutchinson. And this other co-op place not open yet.
Mhm.
How come?
They waiting on that six. I mean, they waiting on that 300,000 from council. Even though they got tens of millions, then the 10 million from the Mott Foundation and grants and different things.
Okay. So we should trust that leadership. But go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
But if you have other stores, yes, they're owned by other people. I get that. Why? Because we allow that to happen. Okay, but at the same time, if this market is supposed to open, then leadership should be held accountable because they started this process before the one in Detroit, or at least during the same time. The one in Detroit is open and operating, and this one here is not, and we're still in it. People are still waiting.
Personally, I think it's a Ponzi scheme, but I could be. And it's not black owned. How you get millions from the Mott Foundation? Even though you got money, people donated 250. Because I think he raised 300 with the people who put that 250 in, supposed to be
Right.
owners. But where's their tax return that you seeing how much, you know what I'm saying, what's being made and what's being lost? Is they gonna be getting revenue from it?
Well, if it's a co-op, then that's like buying shares in the
That's what I'm saying.
building,
So
right?
yeah.
Okay, so that means if I bought a $250 share,
Mm.
then whenever it opens, I'm supposed to get something in return for what it is that I put in, right? That's how that's supposed to
That's
go.
what I'm thinking.
Okay, I'm at to talk to somebody about that. I'll see how that works before I make. And I'm listening to you because you know more than I do.
I'm just saying what I seen in Wilson now.
But there's something wrong with the fact that that's not being pushed to be open by the leadership that started it.
Pastor Flynn, I mean Dr. Reggie, I mean Reggie Flynn on vacation.
But he been retired for a while.
But he back now and he stay in South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Okay. It's not black owned, but like BT, if you say it's black owned enough, people will believe you out of exhaustion. Well, we knew BT was we found that out. That wasn't even that place. That's not even worth watching because they don't even put anything in there worth anything.
He found out too in the newspaper when the Mott Foundation told you they gave you millions of dollars. They should have, people, but that, when you got Reggie coming up here instead of saying it's black owned, then he had his people, people showed up for council to say give the market, the co-op market some more money. But we in October, Reggie said it was going. It seemed like it's only going to contingent to open if it can get the money from Flint. That's what I'm saying. Even the director, the guy up here, not even from Flint, who running it. So how you gonna run it from out of state?
And then how you gonna have any influence that anybody wants to listen to? See, that's part of our problem with just allowing people to make blatant statements or have you believe that they're doing something community oriented and community wise without there being any background in the community in the first place. Not saying that he didn't, because he's been around here a long time before he retired or whatever. But if you're still going to have things that you're interested in, even if you don't stay here, you got to be here. So if it's important for you to have it open, then why not be diligent enough to make sure that it's open? I'm gonna open up this and then I'm gonna go do this and but I'm gonna be hands off. No, I'm not. Even if I'm away. Even if I'm away, I'm not gonna, you can't be hands off. You gotta have your hands on it in order to make it work. If it's a model that's worth working.
Mm.
So where are the local farmers? And I'm just gonna throw something else out there for that. Where the local farmers that are putting produce together in order to there wasn't no foul tip, that was a strike. Where where the local farmers that you have made connection with, and I'm giving it to you out there, whoever's listening that's got something to do with this food co-op, that you make connection with, that can start to bring in produce because they can sell it at the market, they can consume some of it. But if we have a really good growing season, where are you that you can start saying, okay, well, this local marketeer is bringing in this local produce because they're bringing it in order for us to be able to start to sell something out of the place, even if it's tomatoes and lettuce or something like that. Some sort of vegetables that are grown locally by local people that have local farmers that have extra produce that if they can't take it to the market, they can bring it over here and you can give them part of a stipend for this money that you got from the co-op in the first place, because you have a lot of people that put money in it to be part of the ownership. And then why are we not making sure that those persons can start to bring their produce in, so then you shut people's mouths about what the hell's going on, because it don't look like nothing's happening. And if nothing's happening, why am I going to put my money in it? Why am I going to support it? Because that's the disorganization and disunity of our community. And it's okay to come down there and say, look, council, we need this one, but this is what we have going on here as well. Then you got a completely different point of view. You got people that go, okay, I'll support it, but at least it's open. It's not sitting there. And you only use the gala center and for community events. But now people can come in and start to shop a little bit, because now you're making connections within the community. I'm giving y'all a strategy to help you out. You're making connections with the local grocery people or farmers that's in the community, right? There's right there on DuPont and Hamilton. There's a person that just put up a greenhouse. Hey, I go knock on the door and say, look, hey, when you grow extra stuff, can you send it down to this market down here? And don't say, we'll bring it in for free and we'll pay you. No, here's some money for $100 worth of collard greens or whatever. Bring them down and we'll start to sell your stuff. And then, because it's not like you sitting on money, you sitting, it's there, unless it's not. You can start doing small stuff to have it open until you get it fully operational. Because you're not just contingent on this $300,000 you're asking for, right? Because if you got some other monies, then everything should be straight so that you can start to open it up to get people to come in. And that's a community thing. So then where's the part of the voice of the community should be saying, hey, look, do something in order for us to trust and believe that you're trying to do something for the community. Uh-oh, Mr. Builder, he has what he got to say. Yeah, but part of what the food co-op is it's like it's like a shop, a stock, right? $250 allows you to come in and shop. And what I'm saying is nobody's being allowed to come in and shop. And yes, it was different 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago as compared to now. But if this is the idea for the co-op, then at least there should be something I should be able to come in there and shop for and shop with. because this $250 gives me the ability to come and shop. Even if that means I can't get but $5 worth of material, at least I'm coming in there because you got my money and I've got nothing for it in return. That's all I'm saying. And yes, there's a major difference between the 40s with $250 and the in 2025 $250 or 2020 whenever people started giving money to this thing. Yes, there's a major difference. But what I'm saying is this though, at least allow me to come in and shop because you got something in there for me to be able to shop for. That's all I'm saying. Especially if your position is that you're doing something to help the community. You can be gone. Don't nobody care. You can stay away. Matter of fact, that's maybe even better. But at least get something going on other than just we're still waiting on some more money. No, you got some money somewhere. Get something started. Start having, I don't care if you can come in there and buy water. Go in there and buy water. You know, a whole lot of these places do that. They go to different stores and they buy water from Sam's Club and Costco and whatever and turn around and put it in their buildings, do a little upcharge, and then go on about their way. Do something. Because then other than that, the community, of course, is not being going to hold it accountable. Well, hey, baby, the FBI is involved in everything that we doing anyway, and trust and believe they definitely listen to this show, and they definitely listen to this show, and there's some other show that they listen to that come from this platform because this is broadcast on YouTube. Well, YouTube is owned by some other place, and government got his ears on it, just like your telephone.
What they call it, the universal snooper.
All right. So, that's what they do. And that's okay. But we only talking about what we're talking about is bringing the community together, be a community. They're doing what they're trying to do in DC. I've been talking to Sister Yogi, even though we haven't talked recently, but just watching the little bit that I was able to see what they're doing there. They're doing some oh boy. Friends, brothers, and in-laws. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The FBI. Well, then you got to make the other FBI from DC, make that in small letters then. So this one, I'll know the difference. I can distinguish the difference.
Yeah, that's the good quote from Reverend Thrillkill.
Yeah.
When he said the friends, but that's really what it is. Like you see nepotism. It's just, to me, it's crazy how, like you were saying earlier when you was talking about far as being in this activism stuff. I mean, like leaders, having leaders. Do you really think we got leaders in Flint?
No, we don't have leaders anywhere across the country because everybody is out for not the people, which real actual leaders were for. People are out there for themselves and what they can get out of, I got to go get this bag, so I'm going to sell out my idea to other people. But then you're not a leader. Don't call yourself that. You can't call yourself a leader if you're out there for something other than, well, heck, I can go on vacation. I can do this. I can do that. I can take, that's fine. Not knocking that. But even when you're doing that, make sure that the priority is the people that you claim that you're fighting for. They're the priority. As long as you make sure they're the priority, then it's fine for you to go like, well, I'm gonna take a vacation from this, and I'm gonna go ahead on and I need to go over to run to Idlewild and get myself together for a long weekend, so I can unwind and get back in the fight. Mm-hmm. Or I'm gonna go such and such. But here's my thing even about that. Go take your vacations, but don't advertise it. Because then it makes me look like what are we supporting you for? I'm not letting people know I'm gonna take a vacation and go somewhere or whatever. But if I do, it's because that's my money and not the money that was contributed for me to work for with people for. There's a big difference. I work every single day. If I take a vacation, I'm gonna go take a vacation because I'm not gonna say, well, we just got $5 from Sister Deborah Luna, and hey Mick, let me slide that $5 over here so I can go get gas so I can drive up north. No, that's community money. But see, the issue is people don't think that that's community money. People think that that's their money and they can do with it as they want to. Of course, that's what always happens. Just like we have teachers that don't live in a district and they take the money that they get from the students that they teach and they take it out to where they live at.
How did it get like that?
Yeah, politics. Politics let that happen. Politics let that happen. There was a one point in time where if you were a city employee, you work for the hospital, you work for the hospital, local hospitals. If you work for the city, and if you were a teacher, you had to live in the city. You had to live in the city. And then what happened was they let that go because somebody would start to protest about the fact that, and we didn't have this extra stuff that's going on. We didn't have young people not making it to school. We didn't have all of this other stuff because your teachers lived right there. So everybody was on top of that. Everybody was on top of everybody else. You had the plants here, the people that they just like what they did in Dearborn. If you look at Dearborn, there's a plant and there's homes right around it. And there's schools, the community schools were right there in the community, right there near the plant. And it wasn't necessarily such that people were going to say, you're going to work for us perpetually. But you had no reason not to miss work unless you were sick or some injury happened because you could walk to work. You had community school and community school directors who really were part of the community. But there were people that to this day, even though my parents are gone, I'm still a little brother and they may be 10 or 12 years older than me. And I'm still a little bro. Or sometimes even boy. And I'm 62. And they, hey boy, oh man, that's such and such over there. I know who that is. Yeah, I remember, we used to walk y'all home from whatever, and you know how they talk about you,
Right.
dirty nose and snotty and all this other stuff. Yeah, but we appreciate that now. We don't have that anymore because now it's you can't say nothing to my kid. I know that there's sicknesses. I get that, but at the same time, if we don't go back to being community, all is lost. All is lost. Over and over and over again. We keep on, well, how do we fix this? We have to go back to being brothers and sisters. But I don't have no issue with you. Hey, man, you was a little rough with my kid or whatever. My fault. But still keep an eye on my child. Hey, well, such and such. Hey, you did this and you went and broke into my man's house or you took something out of his house you wasn't supposed to. All right. Then you got roughed over just like you're supposed to. Remember we talked about that one clip about the young man went over this girl's house and the dad gave them strict rules not to do something and he convinced the girl to go do it anyway.
Right.
And then the mama come on, no, she was wrong as hell. Because the young man gave him rules and he broke the rules or she broke the rules. And I'm sure that he got on his daughter just like he got on the boy. But he know what the boy's intention was because he a man. And I'm sure he roughed his daughter up too. But you can't come over and tell me that I already told your son, hey, this is off limits, don't go nowhere, and you do it anyway, and then you want to act like you want to buck up, and then you want to come and talk to me? You better get your ass off my porch and take your raggedy ass son with you. Get away. Because I ain't listening to you. Because he got roughed up because he didn't follow rules, and she got roughed up because she didn't follow the rules either. Now, somewhere along the line, they're going to catch up with each other because they like each other. I get it. But what I said, go in my house, go in my house. He broke the rule. He had to pay. No, that don't mean he can't come back over. I'm going to let him come back over. But understand if you break the rules again, there's going to be the same consequences. Get off my porch. And if he come over your house and you let him go to do something, then that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
But if my daughter's involved in that, then I'm gonna get on your head too. Because what we doing is you letting people do stuff, young people do stuff, and then it's out of order. And then we don't want to tell. No, I ain't that teacher. I ain't that parent. Hey, look, I saw your daughter. Just looking, hey, make sure you check her book bag before she go to school. Because them clothes that she left in seeing you with, hey, we can see what she had for breakfast. But we don't want to do that. But they should be able to do what they want to do. See, that's the insanity that we living in now. Wear what they want to wear, do what they want to do. Then when something happens, well, where's everybody at? No, that's part of the problem. Because you want to tell me I can't say nothing, and then all of a sudden when something happened, you want me to come running to your aid. No, sir. No, ma'am. Follow my lead in the first place. I just did that with a student. Hey, big bro, check your daughter. What's the deal? Just, check her out. Make sure whatever she think is happening ain't happening. Actually, I'm telling. Because guess what? You ask me if you walk around here and turn around, you get a teen pregnancy, then everybody want to be up in arms about what was going on and nobody said nothing. Because we're not community.
Oh, don't nobody. Because you got to think that some mamas are still competing with the daughters.
Man, you better go be a mom. And I'm not saying be one of them, you done had your time. Now it's your time to raise your child up until whenever. And it never stops. It don't stop just because they think they grown. You're still part of their life. Keep raising them.
Who you think they learn from?
They learn from their peers, bro. Young people are more attentive to their peers than they are their parents anymore because their parents are doing exactly the same thing. I'm not saying don't take your time and go out and enjoy your life and all that other stuff. But at the same time, hey, you can't out party your child to be partying your child. Y'all at the same club. You 67 and you at the club with the 20-year-olds. No, that's not how they go. Well, I look like my son 24 hanging out with him in his butt. No, sir. Because number one, they gonna act different around me because I'm around. That's they don't typically now since they grown. A little bit more grown.
Well, you get a movie like Stella Got Her Groove Back. Or then you get a movie like Pretty Woman, where you see a person like Richard Grieco?
Right.
When he was like, if people really paid attention to what Pretty Woman was about, it was crazy.
Right.
She was, it was like, but they made she was really a prostitute.
She's a prostitute. But see, this is the movies that they say for them, you can do something different. You can be a prostitute and turn around and become this billionaire's wife. You can do that or whatever the movie was.
Right.
But this is how you started. You can do that. We don't have that luxury. We claim that we do. And so now this new narrative is out of order. Because we don't have community. Because what? Everybody, you can do what you want to, wear what you want to, say what you want to, because most people don't want to go to work or whatever. They figure they doing this content shit and whatever that's supposed to be. And you're really not influencing anything because don't nobody see you change your life.
Right. Richard Gere is his name.
Okay.
I want to say his name.
Yeah.
Richard Gere.
Yeah. So he was a millionaire and he met this woman that was a prostitute and he changed her life. Well, but she knew he had money.
Well,
just like, and I think, okay, sidebar real quick, but not really. This thing with Aisha Curry, people are blowing that out of proportion because she was saying that this is what she wanted to do until she met this young man, and he was like, that's fine, you could do that, but I'm gonna marry you, and we're gonna have children, and there you go. She was talking about what she wanted to, where she wanted to plan her life, and how that got changed because she married Curry and he becomes this basketball player. That still don't mean that she didn't have some things that she could have, she wanted to do that she didn't do because she married. You can still do them. Now you run his business. Shut up.
I mean, I think that's the problem right there. What people took it as, because how she was always like, you know, some people like, damn, you could have kept that. You didn't have to go
Like,
on.
She just wanted to say something.
And that's the problem with some men got. You know what I'm saying? Some got it, because I'm like you. I was like, well, it ain't that bad. But when you started looking at it, I was like, well, she shouldn't. I understood what she was saying, but people like you with a man that's worth 300 million. You know, you got kids. You know, you don't really hear smut on his name, but he messing with all these different women. Same thing when you look at Russell Wilson and Sierra.
Right.
When they be like, well, he's raising future son, like we ain't grew up and know what stepfathers was.
Man, what?
Like, this is some of the crazy, but see, that's how society can shape stuff. They got you thinking like what Russell Wilson doing is wrong.
Man, they got you thinking that he's soft. And guess what? Ain't she pregnant again?
Yeah.
Okay, so he ain't that soft about taking care of another person's baby, raising her up from where she was, because even though she was decent and a decent entertainer, good looking woman, all this other stuff, he's also elevated her because she wears clothes.
Right.
She ain't out there ass out, titties out. Yeah. She ain't doing none of that.
But see, people don't see that because they don't see him as an alpha male.
Well, because the alpha male ain't got to be in front all the time.
But see, people don't know. You got men. You got certain people. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Corey Holcomb, but he put his own what's the name on there, like his spin with an alpha male is. See, people don't think that my man. But look how much hate Russell Wilson get.
Right.
From his players that he's still in the league. The other ones out the league.
Right.
You know how they try to dog him out and everything. Yeah. Facts, Marcus Field.
Yeah,
I'm looking. He said, that. Pretty Woman, A Decent Proposal was crazy movies. Richard Gere and Robert Redford, but old dudes. But but I'm just saying, them movies back then was justifiable, and you see how they locking the people up now.
Yeah. So let's go back to the point.
Go ahead.
So you have a comic who is decent, knocking what he do, how he do it. But you're bashing people. And once again, what did Malcolm say? Yeah. You put the mic in front of entertainers and comedians and think that they have something to say instead of people who study and go like, what our position is. Okay, you know what? She can have that. That's fine. And what did he say though at the end? What did Curry say? Yeah, you know what? She has a right to her opinion, and I support her. And that when he just killed it just like that. But everybody still she wanted to do this, and she, okay, well, you know what? She can still do that. She's just gonna run our foundation. That's all, which is what she's doing anyway.
Facts.
So all of this other stuff was her on there talking about what she wanted to do. She didn't say she wanted to throw her life away. So that's people's spin on it, because we always have to take a negative spin on it and say dumb stuff about certain things because that's all we know how to do and attack it that way, instead of saying, hey, you know what, she was really talking about what she wanted to do and she ended up marrying him, and I didn't know about gay man, then next thing I know I'm pregnant. Well, that's what happens if you're having sex. You're gonna get pregnant, but he's taking care of you and your family. You've had nothing to worry about, so you still win. But let me say this about the wolf pack. Everybody don't understand that the alpha male and the alpha female that run the pack run the back of the pack. They're in the back. They put the young pups and the younger wolves in the front, the older wolves in the middle, and the alpha male and alpha female who mate for life run the back of the pack, and they're at the end of the pack. So they can sit around and talk about Russell Wilson. Look what he's done for Sierra's career. Look what he's done with Sierra's career. It wasn't the other way around. He's 35. He's at the end of his career. Look at her career. And she's pregnant again. What they like 36 child or whatever.
But you know what, because you got people who don't understand it. We being shaped by how society think it's supposed to be.
But we've always been shaped by. Listen, we go back to the Willie Lynch letter, which is where we started at, and we're going to keep on throwing that out there. And people are not studying that and not reading it to have an understanding, because this is all of the document that is forming and shaping the reality that they're giving us, not the reality that is. This is the reality that they're giving us, and they're shaping it through music, social media, and everything else that they involve, and everything else that we watch. And we don't understand it because we don't have another point of view in order to which to take a look at it through another lens, because we don't study shit. If we studied, then guess what? We wouldn't be talking about, well, he's not this and he's not that and he's not the other. And the other person that kind of brought all of this to a forefront too was Kevin Samuels, who they hated because he was telling you all the truth as women and as men in a society. He wasn't just talking to just women, even though a lot of women want to understand the reason why they were having raggedy relationships. And when he gave an honest answer, he was the dog. He was horrible. He was wrong. Oh, when he died, everybody was happy. But guess what? Now you got people going like, oh, you know what? And then everybody got to change how we operate. Because here's the thing. If I meet a woman and I say, I really like you, I find you attractive, what's up? She can tell me yes or no. I didn't say nothing else about it tomorrow. I told you what I want to do right now at this moment. Get out of your head that I talked about anything else. But if I change my mind and say, well, what's up for tomorrow and what's up for the next day? And how do we operate? And how are we operating as a couple or whatever? Because that's what I want to know. First and foremost, I may be on some BS about sleeping with you. But yes, I am, but not really. But kind of sort of I am, but not really. But I want to know where your head is at. I don't want to know what you're thinking about. Because if I don't know what you're thinking about, I can't trust the fact that you're going to be a partner for me. Somebody that I want to be with and walk this walk, because this walk is hard. So those people found somebody that could say, hey, look, so like you say, what is the movie Pretty Woman and Indecent Proposal? Also some prostitute whole movies. And look at how, but they shaped this other thing. Just like when Richard Gere first came on the scene, the very first movie he did was called American Gigolo. But she was a male prostitute. And guess what? Everybody after that wanted to be a man, wanted to be a hoe. It is what it is. This ain't nothing new. But at the same time, back to what we really should be talking about is how in the world, even with that bullshit propaganda, how do we reshape our reality to say, we got to take care of each other. We got to watch out for each other. If this food co-op don't open up by next month, regardless of whatever, then it should be shut down. Sell a building. Shut it down completely. It's a waste of time. I'm going to say this again. I'm a school teacher. If I'm not being effective for your children, then it's time for me to be told it's time to go. And it's okay. Folks had that right. But hold everybody else to the same standard. Mayor, council, everybody else. Not a recall 6 years later, and then it don't matter because now he locked in with whatever he locked in with, and he's going to continue to be the mayor because he's going to continue to make these situations work for him and his family, his FBI. I like that. His FBI. And then when people want to, oh, I'm left out of the loop. No, you want to be a whistleblower or something else, or you want to have all of these other contingent BS ideas. No, stop doing that. Stop doing that. Because as a community, if we go and I'm going to say this again, between Center Road and Door Highway, 2 gas stations that sell liquor, or one is probably going to sell liquor because it sold liquor in it before. So I'm quite sure it still got its liquor license when it was closed down and it was a corner store. Now you're going to sell gas, liquor, whatever else you got out of there. And another one a mile up and two liquor stores in between. And you mean to tell me they ain't closed? They not closed. They ain't talking about changing hours. They're not talking about doing none of that. Because guess what? They're going to stay open for as long as we keep on giving them money. And it's convenient for us to walk up the street or across the street to go get a cheap bottle of liquor that's doing damage to us more so than anything else, because we've been told, do what you do, how you do what you do. I do it too on occasion. Mine might as well just have nothing in it but ice and juice and pop though, or whatever. And it's light because I'm gonna always be in my faculties where I'm always aware. But we have to be able to, as a community, we have to put pressure on those so-called leaders across the board in order to say, hey, look, you ain't leading us right, you got to go. And we cannot take a long time. And if not, you do a letter writing campaign, you file lawsuits. These are frivolous. I don't care. We file another one tomorrow, file another one the next day, file another one the day after that. Keep filing them. Don't let them off the hook. Because once you let them off the hook, they go back to thinking it's okay for me to do whatever I want to do. And this is what's going on. Ain't nobody put pressure on nothing to make sure that store open. So it should have been open a long time ago. What more do you need? Where's the groceries at? Yeah, too many people with greenhouses around here that you could be buying $5 worth of stuff in order to get people in the first place, so that at least you have somebody going in there doing something. But that's not even happening. And then you want more money? Man, where's the progress? Just like that one time I went to council because we didn't have something to do that one day or whatever. So I went down there and some company comes up that has something to do with fixing the water or whatever they claimed, and they didn't have no budget. They just walked up there saying we need some money. Didn't show no budget, no outline, no nothing. And the council shut it down. They're supposed to. We're not giving you money for nothing. You got to show us what your line items are and what you need it for. Well, we were working on such and such, and we need to finish the job. That don't mean nothing. See, that's the issue. Because of the cliques and the friendships and the in-laws, you're taking care of them because the people are not aware. People are ignorant. But once the people become aware, then that changes everything. And I think I'm getting ready to, step in some mess. But we got to start making people aware. We have to start making people aware. They have to be aware of what's going on. They have to be aware of what's happening where they live at. Not just crime stuff. Crime is easy fix. You know how you fix it? You just make sure everybody got something to do. Then you'll be too damn tired to commit a crime. And if you're choosing to commit a crime instead of changing your life because you figure that's the best way in order for you to be able to do it, then guess what? We just drive you out the neighborhood. We've done it before. We've done it before. We've done it, I don't know how many times before. I remember there was a man up the street that somebody told me he had to register. And I would walk up the street. He had a beautiful dog, big old Rottweiler, to come out and he try and yank off the chain off the porch. And I told him, I said, that dog, there's a beautiful dog, and I like the dog, but if he come off that porch and he come over here the wrong way, he ain't gonna make it. And neither will you. Oh, we have to let people know that, like, you in my neighborhood, but guess what? You have eyes. And we're watching. See? Go ahead on, Mr. Bird. That's what we're talking about. We appreciate that. Right? So then we have to get on letter writing campaigns. We have to do all of that. And they are very effective. Like you say, if you put an affidavit in their face, same thing. What's happening over here? How come we're not getting the changes that we need? Why are you just sitting over there focused on one part of the community, not the whole community?
I think that's by design, though.
Absolutely, it is.
I think the people who running this thing, who funding a lot of these things, I think you get certain people in here because think about it. Why are not all the people on the same page if y'all all fighting for the same thing?
Because they're not fighting for the same thing. And this is the main the whole. At the end of the day, it's your council and your mayorship is about, and everything that surrounds it is about moving the city forward in a manner that's going to be a benefit to the community as a whole. And if that's not happening, then why are we still dealing with them? And even if they get moved out, are the person that's going to come in behind them going to be different? No, they're not. Why? Because they're going to be lured by something that's going to say, hey, look, you know what? If you vote with this political action committees, even on this level, if you go ahead on and support what we're talking about, we can make sure we fill your coffers up with monies and you ain't got to worry about nothing. So everybody want to be fat. Don't nobody want to work. Don't nobody want to put the work in. Don't nobody. I ain't talking about marching. I'm not doing it. I'm not wearing no shoes or walking. Fuck that. But I'll walk my ass to the courthouse.
That's what I'm saying. If you got the people, I'll give you an example. Say me, you, and Trevor, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might got the know-how.
Right.
Like I know the people. I might have the resources, right? And Trevor might be the one good at getting us together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if you got it, why we, you know what I'm saying? That's how you get together. When you trying to put something together, you have it'd be like it'd be like 4 different wars going on. You see, to me, I seen cliques within cliques.
Right.
And that's what you be seeing now. And then you start seeing little personal and agendas become, because everybody got a personal agenda. I get so sick of people act like they ain't got a personal agenda. And then it blows my mind.
But and the crazy part is it's okay to have a personal agenda.
Facts.
As long as you don't put that personal agenda above the people that you claim that you're serving. And I don't care who you are.
Right.
That's fine. Write your personal agenda inside the overall scope of what it is that you plan on focus on the community that you represent, whether you be a so-called religious leader or a so-called community leader. It shouldn't be hey, look, it's about me, 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 me. Then you in it for the wrong goddamn thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
God called me to come and be a priest. No, the fuck he didn't. You saw an opportunity.
Facts.
Okay. God called me to be a community leader. No, the fuck he didn't. Or she didn't. Or they didn't. You saw an opportunity because you have to be willing to sacrifice something. And that's what the hell's wrong with these people. They're not sacrificing any damn thing. They're continuing to fleece the flock. And the issue is that they still have people that go run to their building, go to slaughter. And what we don't have is people are willing to say, hey, no, I don't need you to do that. I don't need you to do that. You don't live over here. So this is what I would need.
No, that's a fact. Just
man, that whole that's a whole nother story.
Just look at it from that standpoint. We looking at residency fraud around here.
Right. But that should have been checked out at the beginning. That should have never let slide if part of the, what am I trying to say? What's the word I'm looking for? Part of the prerequisite is that you live in a community. That should have been thoroughly checked out first.
But see, the clerk office been, and it's just my humble opinion. And I said, like, people getting, I ain't gonna say it, but it's just the truth. I've been hollering for years. Inez Brown was not the treasurer of the city that people were saying she was a treasurer. No, she wasn't. She was part of the corruption has been going on. She knew about these people who didn't live in these woods and names, but what it was, certain people that was on council that were cool with her. And I say this, like, certain people wanted her to stay in that position, just like Davina. Certain people want her to stay in there because they might be looking at it. Maybe next year I'll be able to, have a 5 and she'll be on my side. You know what I'm saying? But when you didn't speak up at the time, and this is what I be meaning about, when Maurice Davis was running, everybody goal was, we got to get rid of Maurice. They overlooked that the councilwoman in the second ward was not here for the whole year. Even when Sis Audrey went to Inez Brown, You didn't see anybody else that was running
Right.
that was saying, look, we got to get on this residency fraud. Nope. The whole thing was we got to get on they wanted Maurice Davis out. They didn't understand. They had one assignment was we gonna dog Maurice. Now councilwoman in there, but wasn't nobody hollering about that. You can't, and I do believe this, and I remember Papa said this, and this was doing the when Miss Beverly Biggs was having a press conference. It was the one down there by the Club Quorum.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, you can't be a reactionist.
Right.
Meaning y'all want to you doing something now, it's too late. You know what I'm saying? When you let them individuals get in them seats and you knew already it was scandals coming, you supposed to been had, you know what I'm saying, hollering and doing the stuff you supposed to do. You don't let the person get in the seat and want to do it.
No. But see, this is where, again, you don't have community forums that allow the community to come in and ask questions of those people that are running. You get to see that's that bullshit that we met again at, but they had over at Scott School. Facts. Where you want them to talk, but I don't want them motherfuckers to tell me shit. I want to be able to ask them questions.
Right.
Whether it be the state rep, or whether it be this person or that person, I want to be able to talk to you to see where you are. You're going to give me your spiel, and you think I'm just going to listen to it and go from there. No, I want to be able to ask you questions more so than what you are willing to tell me. So there should be a prerequisite that a person lives in the community for minimally a year. So if you just moved over here to the 7th Ward and you're getting ready to run for council next week, you should have been here before November. You should have moved in before November, and then we'll see. And what's your agenda? What is the reason why you're there? And if you tell me your agenda is this, this, and this, I'm going to hold you to that because I'm responsible enough to hold you to that. So that means everybody in our community, we should say, this person said that they were going to do this, this, and this. Now, we're going to tell you, we know you got to get in and get your feet wet. But from there, you got 30 to 60 days in order to be able to show us that you're doing what it is that you say that you're doing. And if you don't, then you got to go.
No, I agree with, to me, it's just kind of hard to when I see, like, and I'm not trying to knock nobody, but if I can't be honest, I can't be me.
Right.
It's just hard for me to see the players in the game and I'm watching how it go. How can you expect me to sit up here and believe y'all when I seen how y'all done played by? You want me to expect you to change what I'm seeing what y'all doing?
No, they're not going to, because they've been able to do it already.
Yeah.
They've been able to set up the precedent for what it is that they're doing. So the question is, how do we get them out of there quickly? Do we do a letter writing campaign, and or do we also say, hey, we're going to start putting in these frivolous lawsuits that's going to jam up the courts until something happens? Or do like what Brother Bird said, write an affidavit and put it up there. And then from there, nobody's saying you can't put some extra money in your pocket. But right. Make sure some of that money also trickles down to the community.
Facts.
Right? They're building another stadium in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
So if the community is being moved away and moved out, just like they did over here for 475, then what am I getting in return for giving you my property? Well, in this urban renewal, which they now call gentrification, same thing, except for you having other people move in that wasn't here before. What am I getting in return? You want my house? Okay, fine. I had somebody call me, you know how they call we buy houses. Mm-hmm. Well, no, you know what? I want $550 million for my house. They ain't called since. So don't call me. I'm not selling anything. But what are we getting in return? What's the, I negotiated it, part of the negotiation of a deal to get a stadium here, and then everybody got to move, but they get nothing. Okay, well, they should get $300,000 per family for that.
Ask the people in Brooklyn about the Jay-Z with the Brooklyn Nets.
Right. And they building a new thing for a team that's horrible.
And look how they replaced the residents.
Right. But nothing. Trump did the same thing when he built Trump Towers. The older woman said that she wasn't going to sell her house because the house been in her family for like 100 and some years, right? Free black woman, and they just waited till she died. But at least she kept the house there, and but being her heirs blew it and let the house go, all over money. Bro, we're gonna take one more minute, then we're gonna get up out of here.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so this the strategies I gave y'all some way to solve some stuff. If this food co-op is gonna open, they need to make connection with local growers and start bringing some product in there. Hold them accountable. Letter writing campaigns, affidavits to our so-called leaders. If you're going to church because you want to feel good, no problem. But if when political time comes, they're telling you who to vote for, you better watch them because that's what they're going to do. That's how they operate. They operate on getting paid. These so-called community leaders, if they traveling all over the place and showing that they on vacation every time they turn around, they ain't no leaders. You talking about leaders in the struggle, not leaders in you struggling. Because this is a struggle. And what Frederick Douglass said, the Honorable Frederick Douglass said, without struggle, there is no progress. But we got to get them out of here. We got to force them to do the will of the people and to benefit the people and not themselves. If they want to do that on themselves, hey, they not leaders. You got to let them go. Cut them loose. On that note, family. But first and last, the last word right here, you got to be able to take care of yourself and take care of your family. And they have to be first and foremost, and they have to be the number one on the agenda. Not anybody else's stuff. Not any look, well, what do you think about? I don't care nothing about that as long as my children got to be straight first. My family's got to be straight first. That's first and foremost. After that, I can deal with everything else. But right now, if my family's not straight, I'm not gonna be straight. That's the first line of defense, your family. But even in that, you got to have righteous indignation dealing with your family. Don't sit around there and believe that bullshit your kids tell you that they wasn't involved in some shit when they was involved in it. No, I'm not saying people don't put some other mess on kids and don't lie, whatever. But you better understand that when your kids not around you, they gonna do shit. And for some of y'all, when your kids around you, they do the same shit. You need to get that fixed. And you had your morning cup of bro.
For sure.
All right.
All right, family. I see y'all. Won't be me to be the Just a Thought. The ladies from Just a Thought DC, you heard at 7 o'clock.
All right.
Peace, family.
Peace, fam.